rather aggressively. I got to find the right. I just sent myself something else too. Mr. Wonderful and I are agreeing on something. Kevin O'Leary from the Shark Tank. We are agreeing. As I still get some of the different things going here. We're actually agreeing. And that is, of course, anti-Trump. Go figure. I'm just going to do that one on Discord so that we're not chewing up too much space or whatever it is. Yeah. I mean, I can't. This is the one here. And I'm going to share the screen on this in a second. I got to refresh it and bring it to all the different screens that we're using, that kind of thing. Bear with me. I just woke up from an amazing power nap 15 minutes ago. Okay. Everything ready, hot here. It should be on that one. All right, let's play this thing.
Tax on tips.
Does this tax bill continue the payroll tax on people's tips?
Yes, it does.
No tax on overtime.
Overtime. The president said your overtime will be tax-free. Does this bill continue the payroll tax on overtime?
It does not exempt overtime from the payroll tax.
And no tax on Social Security benefits for our great seniors.
The president said he's going to remove taxes on Social Security. Does this bill remove taxes on Social Security benefits?
It does not change Social
So this is a tax decrease for the wealthiest Americans in our country.
So that is the big, beautiful bill.
I'm calling for no tax on tips. No.
Does this tax bill...
That's what you missed, the very first line that we missed. Because this thing starts playing, but it starts playing muted. Yeah, I don't know what good that does. So there it is. No tax on tips. No tax on Social Security. No tax on overtime. All forgotten about. Medicaid, and we talked about that earlier this week. It's something like 13 million. I'll pull it up again because I want to put citations every time. How many Americans will lose Medicaid? There it is. So a day ago, according to Newsweek, the White House warns that up to 9 million Americans could lose health coverage. It was more than that. I remember it was 11 or 13, something like that. Center for Budget and Policy Priorities. I mean, that's definitely sounds a lot more official than Newsweek. Roughly 15 million people, and likely more, by 2034 would lose health coverage and become uninsured because of the Medicaid cuts. I'll tell you what this is. This is a backdoor method of eliminating Obamacare. Let's find out. How many Americans were insured by the Affordable Care Act. $21.3 million, leaving roughly 6 million people who enrolled in Medicare, or excuse me, who enrolled in Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, still covered. Superfan Superfan Ken says good morning. And joining from Facebook. I think I see him on Discord also. Power naps are always good. Yeah, I was up since like 6:30, and I was just like, okay, you know what? Let's just get up and get moving and get things done, which I did. But for Facebook vid, you have to click the middle first and hit unmute. Did you hear the whole thing? I did unmute that one. I heard it. So I hope that everything else heard it going out. I don't see me muted anywhere else. So that's always good. And I have my, I have an old iPad sitting here that I use to actually tune in the same way you guys would to see what it sounds like. Good. Cool. So let's go back, take a look at some of these articles. My God, how many Facebook tabs do I have up here? Oh, there's that one. Yeah, okay. I also want to talk about the Pittsburgh mayor, whose office we reached out to after a gay bar was raided by the Pennsylvania State Police and a task force. So it's actually a Pittsburgh police-oriented or run task force that was supposedly just a compliance check. I'm hearing some other things. Doesn't matter, because the current incumbent Democratic mayor lost to his challenger in the primary. So there will be a new mayor by the end of the November election in Pittsburgh. And one of the things this guy was accused of not doing is properly managing the police department. Let's see what also NPR has to say about this. New research shows what's at stake if Medicaid is scaled back. Again, from National Public Radio, 2 research studies published this month add important data to the fierce political debate over Medicaid in Washington, D.C. Each study, one published last week in the New England Journal of Medicine, and the other released as a working paper from the nonpartisan National Bureau of Economic Research, offers evidence that Medicaid, the public insurance program that covers more than 70 million low-income and disabled Americans, is saving people's lives. As Congress considers major changes to the program, these findings underscore the importance of treading carefully, said Harvard University economist Amita Chandra, who was not involved in either study. What we're learning is that restricting access to Medicaid might save us money, but that comes at a tremendous cost, said Chandra, and that cost is human lives. Yet, see, I don't get this concept of running the country like a business. The country is not a business. It's a government. Government isn't supposed to be profitable. It's supposed to be productive. Huge difference. Both are positive, but you have to spend money to make money. And in this case, the money that we're making is a successful pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. Not a positive bank account for the Treasury Department. I'm getting today's show notes out. I came on the air right at 11. So do they think it's going to be too late for people to do anything about it? They're only going to pay for this heavily in the midterms. Here's another report. Did I say it? Look at this over here in the margin. Look at this over here in the margin. House Republicans won't let go of repealing ACA. Do you know what ACA stands for? Affordable Care Act. Rewind. Not 5 minutes ago when I said that's what they're after. Decimating its Medicaid expansion would harm millions of parents, children, and disabled people. Hello. The House Reconciliation Bill, now taking shape, would take health coverage away from millions of people and dramatically raise health care costs for millions more. Here are some of the impacts. Roughly 15 million people, that's the number we had a couple minutes ago, and likely more, by 2034, would lose health coverage and become uninsured because of the Medicaid cuts, the bill's failure to extend enhanced premium tax credits for Affordable Care Act, marketplace coverage, and other harmful ACA marketplace changes, according to estimates from the Congressional Budget Office. This is from the Congressional Budget Office. Their sole purpose is to manage money and to track the management of money and report on the effects that the expenditures or taxation or what, and anything having to do with money, what did that do for the country? That's what that office does. Or what did it do to the country in the event that it's negative? This figure could rise as provisions of the House bill grow harsher. CBO estimates that 7.6 million people would become uninsured due to Medicaid policies passed by the Energy and Commerce Committee. 1.8 million people would become uninsured due to codification of the Trump administration marketplace rule provisions, which the E&C committee also passed. So now we're up to 9.4. 2.1 million people would become uninsured as a result of marketplace policies passed by the Ways and Means Committee. So that's 11.5. An additional 4.2 million people would lose marketplace coverage because the legislation fails to extend the premium tax credit enhancements. $15.7 million. I mean, that's more like 16. When people lose their health coverage, they lose access to preventive and primary care for life-threatening conditions, and treatments for chronic conditions. Sorry about that. There's this part of my shock mail is just in, I should read it with one eye. When people lose their healthcare coverage, they lose access to preventive and primary care for life-threatening conditions, and treatments for chronic conditions. For example, a person with diabetes who loses healthcare coverage would lose the ability to properly manage their condition so they can maintain their health as well as their employment. Medicaid. According to CBO, the bill would cut Medicaid by at least $716 billion, the largest cut in the program's history. Between 9.7 million and 14.4 million people in the expansion population would be at risk of losing Medicaid under a provision that takes coverage away from people who didn't meet a harsh work requirement. Estimates of how many of those at risk would lose coverage vary. CBO estimate that if coverage losses mirror those experienced in Arkansas when it implemented similar requirements, some 7 million people would lose coverage. 2/3 of people aged 19 to 64. That is really the entire working population. 18, you graduate from high school, you enter the workforce. Whether that's a job while in college or just being in college, to 64, retirement and being eligible for Social Security at, I think it's 65. 2/3 of people aged 19 to 64 receiving Medicaid in 2023 worked during the year, and many of those who didn't were taking care of a family member or had an illness or disability. This expansive work requirement will harm parents, people with disabilities, and those with other chronic illnesses because past experience shows that exemptions don't work. Even people who are supposed to be protected and those who are working lose coverage when they get caught in bureaucratic red tape. One provision would take Medicaid coverage away from people, mostly seniors and those with disabilities who have Medicare, due to provisions that make it harder to get and stay enrolled in Medicaid. Some people would also lose coverage due to new requirements that expansion enrollees reprove their eligibility every 6 months instead of annually. So essentially, you're applying all over again, is what this is forcing you to do. These requirements frequently end up pushing eligible people off Medicaid because they don't receive or submit the necessary paperwork, or because the state fails to process the paperwork. It's not even their fault. I was just billed $35 by Republic Waste Removal, or whatever the hell their name is, here in Florida, because they didn't get my payment on time. I checked my credit card statement. It's there twice. Not only did I pay it, I paid it twice. So that's going to be a phone call after the show today. I should probably do it now. You want to call him? I never called Gus Bilirakis either. And now we got something to call him about. Oh, my shoulder hurts too. These requirements frequently end up pushing eligible people off Medicaid because they don't receive or submit the necessary paperwork, or because the state fails to process the paperwork. That's what we just talked about. Forcing states to implement the work requirement, along with all other sludge this bill adds to the enrollment process, puts all Medicaid enrollees at risk of having their coverage held up and the requirements left unanswered because of the burden on state agencies. At the same time that states need to implement all of these changes, so Medicaid, by the way, is federal assistance for states to insure you in general. Forcing states to implement the work requirement along with all the other sludge, I read that one. At the same time that states need to implement all these changes and will have more uninsured people, some states would lose federal funds due to new restrictions on how they finance their Medicaid programs, and all states would be limited in how they can finance their programs in the future. More than 30 states would see large federal funding cuts for their Medicaid expansion if they continue to provide health care coverage to people who do not meet their very restrictive qualified alien immigration eligibility requirement created under the 1996 law. This would include states that have optional coverage programs for children and pregnant adults that were authorized by the Children's Health Insurance Program. CBO found an earlier version of this policy impacting just 14 states that would lead to 1.4 million uninsured people. Updated estimates are not yet available. Note, the federal Medicaid funding that would be cut under this policy is not currently used to cover this group. The legislation would also raise costs for Medicaid expansion enrollees and will lead many of them to defer needed care. The bill requires states to charge working people with incomes just above the poverty line $16,000 a year for an individual. $16,000. I make that in 3 months. Less than 3 months. I make it actually in about 2 months. New cost-sharing charges when they go to the doctor. Co-pays. ACA market coverage, here it is. About 22 million people, including 3 million small business owners and self-employed workers, will see their health coverage costs skyrocket or lose coverage altogether in 2026 because so far the House bill does not extend the PTC enhancements, even while extending huge tax cuts for millionaires. Have we not figured out that trickle-down economics does not work? It didn't work under Reagan, and you people said it did, Republicans. Biden tried to say that it was working for him. But we had this at the grocery store. Now, all of a sudden, giving the rich tax cuts is going to filter down to the people who need them most. Didn't we try that? Wow. House bill does not extend the PTC enhancements, even while extending huge tax cuts for millionaires, which are critical to making health coverage in the Affordable Care Act marketplace more affordable. Without an extension of this vital credit, an estimated 4.2 million people would lose their health insurance when costs rise to an unaffordable level. Onerous marketplace changes in the House bill will make it harder for millions of working people to enroll in affordable health care coverage. The legislation would also take PTCs and Medicare away entirely from many immigrants who live and work in the U.S. lawfully. People without a documented status are already ineligible. So there you go. Making America great again. Goddamn asshats. I don't get it. What do you see in these people as far as a viable governing party? This guy, I usually want to strangle. But he got this one right, I think.
We've got a situation in this new beautiful bill, and I don't think...
This is Kevin O'Leary. He's a self-made millionaire, investor, company owner. He's actually Canadian. But like so many Canadians, shout out to all my friends at the Thursday morning call that I just talked about. He follows American politics because, I mean, that's where many of his investments are. And that's where his dollar is, his Canadian or American dollar. I don't usually agree with this guy. He's like hardline conservative, very pro-MAGA. And not today.
I think anybody reads these things. I read it. I read all these bills through the eyes of small business. And I found a section in there that looks like a cut and paste that says the IRS will get extended powers to audit small businesses for up to 9 years that took the ERC. Now, that is going to cause chaos in valuations. If you have that hanging over your head, it almost seems unfair and un-American to do that to small business. And I'm not sure everybody's aware of this provision in the bill. I'm heading down tonight to the Hill to get a gong and walk down the halls banging it, saying, what are you guys doing here? You can't do that to small business. Somebody should fix this in the big, beautiful bill, because it's not beautiful for small business. That's totally unfair, because if you're trying to do a deal or get financing or raise capital, and you know you've got that uncertainty for 9 years, that's going to cause chaos.
Well, look, we've had Kelly Loeffler on this program, the head of the small business, and she's talked all
right. I can't stand this bitch. Maria Bartiromo is I can't wait to hear what she says.
all about supporting small business. Are you telling me that there's nothing in the bill that supports small business?
No, I'm telling you, Maria, there's a provision in here that hurts small business, and it really will be devastating to them. And I don't know how it got in there. It could have been a cut and paste from a previous bill. But whatever it is, somebody's got to raise the red flag, and I'm going to do it, because this is not good. You know, small business creates 62% of jobs. And every small business in my portfolio has called me and said, what the hell is this? Now, we've got a situation in this new beautiful bill, and I don't think anybody reads these things.
Okay, that's back to the beginning. I had all these goddamn things loop. Can it just stop? Oh, I saw this before. I think this is old. It's a clip of a crowd going nuts in L.A. at a Clippers game that Barack Obama went to, and they just went crazy. It's actually pretty cool to see.
Now, we've got to...
I got to save this for later, too. Put in the... Well, actually, Superfan Ken sent me that one, so I got it somewhere. All right, gang, I got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to pay tribute to an inspiration of mine who passed away earlier this week from a tragic accident from over the weekend. And, wasn't a bad person, although many people probably will think he was. This is Up the Middle on the Mastiff Media Network, Radio X Country, Radio Live, WCQR Talks, DNR Studios and the DNR Cast, the Biz Growth Collective, 1400 AM and 1071 FM, K-Shop in Las Vegas, Right Talk Radio, Rainbow Radio, Yerg's Radio, Forward Radio, and the rest of the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back after this. What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym, Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training, a dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum. I'm scrolling through my own chat because I send myself stuff for the show. And I forgot this is actually coming from Ken. So I've seen 3 ages so far. I'll just leave it at, between between 61 and 63, whatever that number is. That's way too young. Oh, damn it. I never went live on Instagram, son of a bitch. I don't know if it's going to work now. I tried to turn it on, but Yeah, I think once you're live, you can't add any other destinations. All right, well, nothing on Instagram today. That simple. So I'm a guy. I love sex. And I looked up to this one guy for, I would, the good part of my adult life. He's about 10 years older than I am, somewhere in there. And he kind of led me into the daddy status, being older than so many other cool guys at the bar or wherever. And still was in great shape. But apparently on a hiking trip this past weekend, he was injured on the trip, and he passed away from those injuries on Monday. His stage name was Colton Ford. Given name was Glenn Sukesian. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. First time I ever heard it. I met the guy in San Francisco 20 years ago. I would have been in my 30s. He would have been in his 40s. And approachable, nice guy. And he didn't have to be. He certainly didn't have to be. Gay porn star Colton Ford, also known as Glenn Sukesian, has died according to posts on social media from close friends. The gay adult actor and singer reportedly died on Monday, May 19th. According to an update on his Wikipedia profile, he was 63 years old. So in the title, it says 62. Some of the posts that this article is talking about that I already read said 61, and now it says 63. I'm also shocked and saddened. I'm so shocked and saddened to hear and report the sudden passing of my friend and icon, Glenn, a.k.a. Colton Ford, wrote porn director Shishi LaRue. I met him too, her. That's their drag name. You will be missed. Keep singing in heaven. Actually made him breakfast. The non-drag persona of Shishi LaRue, the person. He was at my house in D.C. once. Some of his models were using my Airbnb. According to some reports, he was involved in a tragic hiking accident this past weekend. With a very heavy heart, I share this tragic news, wrote Tim Wood. While we don't have all the details, I never would have dreamed that the photo below of Glenn Sukesian, Colton Ford, and I from 3 weeks ago would be our last. Glenn was involved in a tragic hiking accident this past weekend that took his life. He was a brilliant artist who always kept a song in his heart. Sweet, funny, kind, sassy, and hopelessly handsome. My heart is broken. It's almost too much to take. One of my best friends, a man who helped save my life many years ago. I miss you terribly. I can't stop the flood of tears. Sing with the angels, my beautiful special soul. I love you. I don't know if the actual camera. I just saw the author's camera. The actual photo that post is talking about is not a part of this article. Colton Ford, a multifaceted entertainer, began his career in gay adult films, earning critical acclaim and multiple awards, including a 2003 Gay Video News Award for Performer of the Year. It goes on to show tell what some of his films were. He transitioned into mainstream entertainment with the 2005 documentary Naked Fame, which chronicled his shift from adult films to a career in music. On television, he starred for 3 seasons as Sheriff Trout on The Lair and appeared on the Here TV chat show Threesome. As a singer-songwriter, Ford released several albums and singles, including Tug of War in 2008, Under the Covers, 2009, The Way I Am, 2013, and the Next Chapter EP, 2015. He collaborated with major artists like Frankie Knuckles and Cyndi Lauper. I met Cyndi Lauper, too. She's a sweetheart. Funny, too. And his music is charted on Billboard's dance charts. Ford also performed in theater, making his off-Broadway debut in Little House on the Prairie, 2011, and later starring in And All the Dead Lie Down, 2014, in Los Angeles. Throughout his career, Ford has blended his talents across music, film, and stage, while remaining a visible and influential figure in the LGBTQ+ entertainment. Further details on his death are not yet known. Yeah, not a bad dude. And that's another photo of him there. Both articles, of course, be in the show notes. And that's it. Colton Ford, gone, we'll just say in his early 60s. So, you know what? I didn't do a live spot. We got some comments too. Ken says, let them know you will not be paying for next month. Oh, that's with regards to the garbage collection? Yeah. So I think mine is actually billed quarterly. But yeah, I'll call them today, and I'll call my credit card. It's Capital One. So Capital One will be like, no. In fact, I bought a domain over the weekend for Forward Radio, the new progressive station that we're launching, forward.radio. And I screwed so it's a European registrar. And I screwed something up on that. So I paid for that twice too. And I got 2 emails from Capital One basically saying, dude, pull your head out of your ass. Yeah, Glenn was a singer as well. Yeah. Singer, I guess. Did he also do some DJing? I know Shishi does. But maybe it was just the singing. I don't know. But that and the acting. I mean, he was living in Palm Springs. So he can't be doing too bad. Ken says that he was one of the first to go from adult entertainment over to mainstream, which was hard to do back in the day. Yeah. Yes. I think it still probably ain't easy. Yeah, it's a stigma. And that's what I said, a bunch of people will probably hate on me for, giving a tribute to a porn star. You know what? First of all, I don't know if he ever was an escort, but that's one that I really, sorry, I got something in my eye. That's a occupation that I really have some respect for. I can't have sex with someone I'm not attracted to. I just can't. And they do. And in the process, they make that person feel valuable. I think that's great. But I've got plenty of like I said, I met Colton one time. If we were to meet today, I doubt highly he would remember it. Excuse me. But I have friends in the adult entertainment industry, and it's work, keeping a boner for 8 hours. You can't. It's enhanced medically. And yeah. Or, also being the catcher for that amount of time, also a challenge. Think about it. So rest in peace, man. I've got plenty of friends up there. Hopefully you'll be singing for them. We didn't get to Joe Biden's cancer update yesterday. But to finish out the first hour, I think talking about this is a good idea. It's my understanding that the sitting president actually made some decent remarks with regards to former President Biden's diagnosis. But apparently this guy, Bob Stye, is a friend of a friend. You see the Phillies logo for his emoji here. Oh, there we go. Yeah, for those of you with the video, you can see the Philadelphia Phillies logo. And actually, he and I are friends. Look at that. Okay. I have no idea who this dude is. And can't get any reminder because he doesn't have a picture there. He's got the Phillies thing. But I saw him post this. And, again, for those of you on the radio, I'll read his post. Reminder, Joe Biden is not going to read all of your callous, vicious comments about how cancer is quote-unquote karma for bad people and how happy you are about the suffering and pain you'll endure. But cancer survivors will read them. And people who have just been diagnosed will read them. And people who are watching someone they love wasting away will read them. And people who have buried their spouses, children, or parents because they didn't survive it will read them. Stop being awful. A week and a half ago, I lost a family friend to cancer. He was diagnosed this past fall. Bill Hart was, I think, on my dad's football team. He was a little bit older back in high school. But I grew up with his two daughters and a son. And they lost their dad a week and a half ago. It was, like I said, just a diagnosis from this past summer, or excuse me, this past fall. And it was aggressive and I believe already at stage 4. So, yeah, seeing posts like what Bob's talking about. And then, I don't know how many years ago it was, I lost my mom's brother, my uncle, to cancer, early 70s, diagnosed when he was around my age. I mean, think about that math. Roughly for a third of his life, the guy was fighting cancer. That sucks. And people write things like that. Karma. That's not karma. What did he do? What did my uncle do to fight cancer for a third of his life? That doesn't make sense. Yeah, imagine 2 out of 7 days. That's your weekend. How would you like to spend every weekend fighting cancer, then get up and go to work and support a family? Mathematically, that's what my uncle did. And people right there, and karma. And yeah, I would say there are probably somebody on the left who would write the same thing if some Republican would be diagnosed accordingly. Not cool. Either way, either side of the political spectrum, not cool. Not only is it not cool because Joe Biden was way better of a president than the current asshat, but it's not cool, period. If Trump gets diagnosed with cancer, I will hope that he goes through as minimal amount of pain and suffering, because that's not okay. It's just not. And I've seen other people suffer even much harder. It's not. Oh, there's my buddy Corey. I forget the screen's actually on the air. He and his husband had a baby earlier this year. There's some gays. Yeah, it's I sit back and I think I was just telling somebody last night. I actually have on my phone, it's an iPhone, and on the Notepad application where you can, it looks like a yellow legal sheet of notebook paper. You can just type various notes to yourself. I actually created a list of all the things I said would happen that came to fruition. The only thing I was wrong about was the 2024 election. Everything else, there it is. I was also wrong on this wasn't a thing that I called, but I got to give superfan Ken a shout out for that pizza I bought him about a month ago when I was supposed to not say Blake Fisher's name for a week. I should have put a sticky or something like on the monitor in front of the camera, on the tripod on the camera on the desk or something. And I probably would have read the sticky. It said, "Don't say Blake Fisher's name." Oh, don't. But yeah, I don't get where people are coming from when they think this is a good thing to say. I wonder if these comments are supportive or if somebody's trying to legitimize. There we go. Joe Kowalski says it's spoken by the same people who couldn't believe the shot only grazed him and then took pleasure that one of his supporters lost his life. They couldn't just be nice then. No. Continually hoping for his death as well as supporters' death, even now with 8647. No, dude. No, dude. That is not what 8647 means. And your people had no problem saying 8646. We talked about that already. And there's apparently 10 replies to this guy, so this should get interesting. But no, this is the type of hypocrisy and ignorance people like this have. You had no problem saying 8646, and not everybody uses the number 86 as death or violence. Or I'm going to talk about a guy eventually. I think I touched on it already. The Krasensteins are, I think it's Brian and Ed, are two twins that ironically were previously investigated by the Secret Service for alleged fraud that they got found to not have anything to do with. But it still meant hiring criminal defense attorneys, having their name dragged through the mud, et cetera, et cetera. Now they're journalists, and they're like me. They have like Substack, they got Twitter, and whatever. And he posted 8647. In that post, he said that he does not condone, encourage, or want any sort of violence. And that is not what this 86 means. Can I tell you, he still got investigated and interviewed by two Secret Service agents? According to his post after the fact, that's exactly what happened. And we're actually going to be talking to another guy who did the same thing, I think, on Twitter. We're talking to each other through Twitter or Instagram. I'm not even sure. And he had the same thing. And apparently, and I know how these things start. You can, in the field, you can see these threats yourself, and the field can investigate their own or initiate their own investigations. However, at headquarters in Washington, D.C., in the, whatever it's called now, I don't even know, but what used to be called the Intelligence Division, which is where they do threat analysis, there was a division of that called the Internet Threat Desk. All those people do is search the internet for keywords. And when stupid things like this come up, they call the corresponding office and say, go talk to that guy. When you get that directive from headquarters, you can't not do it. You have to go out. And the one Krasenstein brother said that those agents said this came from D.C. So we have to come talk to you. So it's about 5 of. We're about to lose K-Shop. And I think that's it today. Yeah. So I'm going to go through the plugs, let you know where all kinds of people are. Check out Joseph Soul's book, The Broken Mirror of Memories, Iraq and Other Tales. Don't forget he'll be on Coast to Coast AM on May 29th. Updated time, now 10 a.m. Pacific. Caroline Williams from Happy Health, still a TBD date. I'm trying to get them an attorney in another country, so they can, more on that later. In fact, I'm going to delete that because I don't want to say something stupid. If those of you in an area that enjoy this show but can't let your government know it, write me through my hotel address right there on the screen, yergs@shayergs.com. Tell me you want a vacation and where you want a vacation from. And then I'll know where you're at, and we will continue to send you information one way or another to a place where we're probably being censored. Join the Sea Ranch Civic Association. That's a civic group here along the Nature Coast in northern Tampa Bay. Go to mysrca.com and sign up or for more information. The Capitol Switchboard is 202-224-3121. We've been telling you to say Doge gotta Goge when you call your senators and your congressmen, but also tell them to keep Medicaid. Jane Stahl is with me on Monday. She can be reached through email, Jane E. Stahl, STAHL, at Comcast.net. She is the manager of Studio B Fine Art Gallery in Boyertown, Pennsylvania, available by going to studiobbb.org, 3 Bs. She's also the co-editor of the Boyertown Area Expression. That's our town's digital newspaper, available at Boyertown Area Expression.town.news. Move her up. That way the emails first. There we go. Matt Deemer will be with me on Friday. He's the host of Daily Crypto News. You can get that on the Mastiff Media magazine show a couple times a day, as well as by going to dailycryptonews.net. You can reach Matt by the same email, matt@dailycryptonews.net. You can get us all by writing news, NEWZ, at yergs.com. Now, video and audio available on mastiff.media, yergs.com, and yergs.radio. Any of the social audio or social media platforms gives you an issue. You can always go to any of those three. Mastiff Media and yergs.com have video. Yergs.radio is, of course, the Yergs radio address. And then also Mastiff Media, again, now with live video, also has show notes and other info. That's where all the stations are. All 5 of them. In about an hour from now, we'll be seeing Glenn Sportcat Jackson on YouTube, or you can stay right here on Yergs Radio, Rainbow Radio, Right Talk Radio, and the entire Dare Media Network, Radio X Country, and Radio Live. For Sportcat's Daily Gazette, All right, I got some more comments, and then we're going to start up hour number 2. Always stepping up for me. Superfan Ken says to share, like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. We are building a network. And by doing that, you help us build that network. We are here for you. We're being informative to you and creating conversation for you. And hopefully you take part here as well. But don't be afraid to say, hey, I heard this asshole say something today. Or whatever. Oh, I need to crack my back in the worst way. It's crazy. One of my... Yes. So I have a friend that is messaging on... Apparently he's listening. But yeah. Rick Guthrie says, Ross, the House and Senate has to approve of the bills that are presented, don't they? Yes. But it's... First of all, look at the numbers. And what did we talk about yesterday? And where was Trump yesterday? He was up on the House, or excuse me, up on the Hill, making the threats to, I can share that. There we go. Making the threats to other Republicans, you need to either step in line or we're going to primary your ass. That's what he does. That's what a bully does. He threatens people like that. And they already have the majority in both houses to pass. And remember, last week, right before the weekend, none of this got through. And we thought, okay, hey, Medicaid is saved. It's going to make it. Republicans had some common sense. And then what happened? Sunday night, they came back into committee. After supposedly being on recess, that same committee, Ways and Means Committee, I think, came back and passed it. And now it goes to a Rules Committee before going to the Speaker to be presented as a bill, as for a vote. Well, who was standing right aside of President Trump yesterday? Speaker Johnson. What do you think he's going to do? And with enough Republican senators on the other house, also spineless and sheep, again, what do you think is going to happen? But yes, you're correct. It does have to be voted on. But I'm thinking that unless Kevin O'Leary, us, other people make enough of a stink, it's probably going to pass. We'll see. I hope it doesn't. I hope they change it before they vote on it. Another friend of mine, Denny Lyon, showing this on your screen right now. Trump calls America a stupid country because he has to obey the Constitution. So I don't like sharing stuff like this because I haven't vetted it yet. I mean, there's the other video that we shared the other day, which was pretty embarrassing, where he said that the economy always thrives under Democrats. Yeah, statistically, that's correct. Every depression or recession has happened under a Republican. Every major tax hike has happened under a Republican. It wasn't since I think Carter was the last one to aggressively raise any sort of taxes. But of course, George H.W. Bush was famously noted for saying, "No new taxes, read my lips." Well, they called you bluff, too. Getting a shout out from David Beckmeyer too. We missed a meeting that we had scheduled for Monday, and we used my phone system that supposedly has like a Zoom type of feature, and his link wasn't working, and I didn't know how to troubleshoot that. So we never got a chance to talk. I had other things I had to do after that allotted time. I presume he did too. So, but this post says, and I'm going to look into it further. As the U.S. Supreme Court was preparing to hear arguments from the administration about doing away with the constitutional right to birthright citizenship, Donald Trump got on Truth Social. Oh, that's easy enough to find. And had an epic meltdown. Believable. This time, however, he took things further than ever by declaring the United States a stupid country if he's not allowed to violate the Constitution. I've been offended by this man. He doesn't like you. Howard Stern said it the best. I was amazed at the way he said it. And when he did that, I just thought, okay, he's done. And yeah, there he is, round 2. Yeah, so I'll look into that. I'll see if, and if it was on Truth Social and he didn't erase it or somebody else didn't get to it. Yeah, I'll look into it and see what it says. I got to go back to my other. Yeah, so we saw Rick's comment. Simply Steve on Twitch says, and people wonder why we wear 8647 shirts. Yeah, I mean, and there's nothing. I'll say, I'll post and I'll say 8647. I want to say 86 DeSantis too. Oh, that's the other thing I got to look at. Ken, did you send me that? That's the thing on Colton. And I don't call those guys by their real name. Yeah, I don't know them by their real name. Yeah, I know them as yeah, here it is. So I saw. Ken, do you remember what the other? I think it was Texas. And maybe I sent myself that one. I'm going to open this one up. Yeah. And I love the projection of these people. God, that's disgusting. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute. I just want to see if I can find the other one. Like I said, I usually send these things to myself. And so I wonder if there's FDR. I wanted to do that the other day. Here's the one with Trump. And that's it from goofball Ron Owens, former coworker of mine. That I'm trying to, but I want you, all of you, to be able to tag me on posts so it gets my attention, and so I know to take a look at whatever I got to take a look at. But then this guy, this Ron Owens, a guy I used to work with at the Secret Service, obviously very conservative, does this to stir the pot. I know he's not that bright. Otherwise, he's not stupid, but he's from Missouri or Arkansas or whatever. How bright can he be? But this is Trump. This is what I was telling you about Trump.
Long. I think of myself as a young guy, but I'm not so young anymore. And I've been around for a long time.
Oh, damn it. I mean, it helps if you have the video. So I'll put it up there for you. Let me see if I can refresh this.
I've been now around long. I think of myself as a young guy, but I'm not so young anymore. And I've been around for a long time. And it just seems that the economy does better under the Democrats than the Republicans. Now, it shouldn't be that way. I've been now around long. I think of myself as a young guy, but I'm not so young anymore. And I've been around for a long time.
We're going to play that again.
And it just seems that the economy does better under the Democrats than the Republicans. Now, it shouldn't be that way.
So there you go. No. There you go. There's Donald. I got to figure out what else. I had other things for today. And we can just also do your basic what's in the Trump news. But I just want to make sure that I actually got everything I wanted to actually share with you. Yeah, this is something that's been forgotten. So I'm going to play this. This is FDR. My dog is sleeping.
Have become accepted as self-evident. Certain economic truths have become accepted as self-evident. A second Bill of Rights, under which a new basis of security and prosperity can be established for all, regardless of station or race or creed. Among these are the right to a useful and remunerative job, the right to earn enough to provide adequate food and clothing and recreation, the right of...
Imagine if people knew that he was in a wheelchair as he was giving that speech. Talk about the Biden administration allegedly hiding the fact that they were considering putting him in a wheelchair. 12 years that dude was. Simply Steve also says, are they going to lock up all the MAGAs who are yelling 8646 for 4 years? Yeah, exactly my point. In fact, some of the people that are bitching about 8647 were the very same people bitching about, were the very same people saying 8646. But then it was okay. That this whole MAGA movement has given a unique desensitization from what is really not okay. What we need out of the next president. I remember this happening between Clinton and W. Clinton ran a rather casual White House. There would be interns, staffers in jeans running around the White House working. And W said no. The White House is for business attire. And apparently, when he had to be woken in the middle of the night for a briefing, W would put on a suit before coming down to the Situation Room. Not that Clinton was a bad president by any stretch. But if that was necessary then, We certainly need somebody to bring class and dignity back to the White House after we finally get rid of this, after we finally 86 Trump. All right, let's get back to FDR.
Every farmer to raise and sell his products at a return which will give him and his family a decent living. The right of every businessman, large and small.
See that shot, you see him, and for those of you on radio, the camera view just changed. And it's more of a head-on from a little bit more of a distance. And you can see that he's sitting at a desk in, I guess, it's not the, I don't think the West Wing was there then. I think Truman built that. But you see the bookshelves behind him. You can tell he's sitting at a desk. What you can't tell is that he's either sitting in a wheelchair or he's sitting in a chair that's conducive to him changing chairs. One of the greatest movies about a president starred John Voight, where he played FDR. And there was a scene with his cabinet where they were saying what he wanted to do can't be done. And he said, I was told I was never going to walk again. And he takes his crutches and he stands. He says, don't tell me it can't be done. I think that was with the New Deal.
To trade in an atmosphere of freedom, freedom from unfair competition and domination by monopolies at home or abroad. The right of every family to a decent home. The right to adequate medical care and the opportunity to achieve and enjoy good health. The right to adequate protection from the economic fears of old age, sickness, accident, and unemployment. The right to a good education. All of these rights spell security. And after this war is won, we must be prepared to move forward in the implementation of these rights to new goals of human happiness and well-being. For unless there is security here at home, there cannot be lasting peace in the world. In our day, certain economic truths have become accepted as self-evident.
So yeah, Gamer Jam says we need someone like Roosevelt. Yeah, that wouldn't hurt. That certainly wouldn't hurt. And yeah, I mean, I try to think about what is Trump thinking when he says some of the stupid shit that he says. Because with tariffs, for example, he was using McKinley as a barometer of success. McKinley's tariffs started essentially the country's first recession. And because he wouldn't make any changes to them, among other issues, he was the third president to be assassinated before we, my former employer, finally took over presidential security. I think he was in Buffalo, New York. But yeah, so not a very good example, Donnie. And I wonder with like some of his programs, Big Beautiful Bill, is he trying to be like somebody like Roosevelt and create a New Deal? It's not a good deal. I mean, even Kevin O'Leary says it. Look, I am not a fan of Mr. Wonderful. I'm sure he's a nice guy. Never met the guy. But I don't like his offers on the Shark Tank because it's more for him than it is for the entrepreneur. And that's why I really miss seeing, I don't get to see it anyway, but I'm discouraged or disheartened to see that Mark Cuban has left. Because one of the things Mark Cuban would do on that show, he would never take more than 49% of equity. He would always leave the entrepreneur in a majority control. And he said, and I remember him saying on one where he refused to make a deal was because for this to work out for him, he would have to take more than that, and he refuses to do that, so I'm out. But Cuban readily accepts or hears counteroffers. If he likes it, yeah, I'll take that instead. Fine. If he's hard on his initial offer, he explains why. But what we showed earlier, Kevin O'Leary actually made sense. I'm not saying that the guy's stupid and that he got lucky or something. That's not what I'm saying. But the point is, if somebody that I disagree with that frequently can speak up and say, Donnie, this ain't good. MAGA folks, this ain't good. What are you doing? Like he said, he was going to run through the halls of Congress and bang a gong, say, what's going on here? Yeah, I just don't understand what Trump thinks he's trying to do. I mean, I do. He's not trying. He like Howard said, he doesn't like you. There's nothing that you can do for him. There's a gnat flying around my screen. I don't want to get my coffee. There's nothing that you can do for him. You can't help him. And even if you could, he'd screw you over anyway. I never told my brother this story. When I was the lead agent at Washington Reagan National Airport in D.C., one of my frequent protectees was Donald Jr., who went to high school with my one kid brother. Eric went to high school with my baby brother. Both my kid brothers went to a private school in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. I didn't think of the idea of applying, and I didn't care. So I stayed with my hometown's public school. And my brother asked me if I would talk to DJ TJ to come. My brother then was a college football coach in nearby Reading, Pennsylvania. And he asked me if I would ask DJ TJ to come speak to his athletes. I got a chance to talk to him, like a one-on-one casual thing. And he remembered my brother and said how they watched Monday Night Football, and his dad would have them delivered pizza and beer, even though they don't drink. Yeah, whatever. He said, yeah, he was cool. Okay. So throughout the conversation, he's a college football coach now. He asked me to say hello and to see if you would be willing and interested to come speak to his athletes, to his student athletes. And DJ TJ laughed. He laughed in my face at that idea. And that was it. Simply Steve wants to know, is Trump trying to cause a breakup of the union? Because that's what's going to happen. America is going to be 4 or 5 states short if it keeps up. See, I don't know how that's. I've thought about that. I've said we're already in a civil war. It's just not dressed in blue and gray. I don't really know that everybody's really dressed in red who might be for him. They just are against the far left, which is blown out of proportion. Yeah. The states have solid standing at this point to say the United States has voided its contract with them. And he corrected his typo. I would argue that, if you're saying that there's the possibility of secession, I don't think that's an option or an issue so much as the polarization is not going to go away anytime soon, I don't think. And as far as how are we in a civil war when there's no military fighting another military, no blue versus gray, no north versus south, it's right versus left. But even that, it's not as clear right versus left so much as it is MAGA right versus center and left. And the rest of the conservatives that are anti-MAGA will be placed into the center, regardless of how far right their political beliefs fall. Just anybody, what I'm saying is anybody that's anti-MAGA, and in my opinion also has common sense, versus MAGA. The battlefields are the halls of Congress, social media, concert stages. The generals are people like Elon Musk, Gavin Newsom, Bruce Springsteen, whatever no-name so-called rock stars the MAGA people dig up. I didn't even know Lee Greenwood was still alive. His career is certainly dead. But whatever. Somebody 86'd him a long time ago. But we are the soldiers. Maybe I got a little bit of rank, but not too much. We are the soldiers. And I don't know that there are any civilians in this. But this is the new type of civil war. You don't believe me? Ask Egypt. One tweet started a revolution in Egypt that overthrew that government. And that was 20, 25, 30 years ago? I didn't even know Twitter was around then. So, yeah, that's where we're at. We are in a civil war right now. So, while simply, Steve, I'm not certain that we're going to see a physical, literal split. And again, remember the example that the Congressional Budget Office used. It's Arkansas. That's MAGA. And that's the irony that these people are just not seeing. That these cuts are going to go against their own constituents. I know I've used this example before. It's a movie scene. Do you remember the HBO TV show Dream On? I forget what the Martin was the lead character's name. I don't remember what the actor's name was. But the one actress from the TV show The Good Wife played, it was like her breakout role to the best of my knowledge. She played Martin's ex-wife, a kind of a sarcastic, kind of bitchy type ex-wife. Great job. I'm not saying she is that way. She was also on that TV show, Valerie Bertinelli, the actress that played Daphne on Frasier. There were like 3 or 4 women plus Betty White. This actress and Martin were the show Dream On. And in all of the various life situations that Martin would get into, the screen would flash to some black and white movie. And that scene would be what Martin is thinking. What I'm thinking right now with the MAGA Republicans is from the movie Tin Cup, starring Rene Russo, Cheech Marin, and the lead was Kevin Costner, who played a professional golfer in therapy. And in the very last scene of the movie, the climactic scene of the movie, he's golfing against Don Johnson, by the way. That's the other... he's a pro golfer and he loves it, single or just doesn't bring his wife with him. He's fixed on making this shot. It's a chip shot over a pond, what's called a water hazard. And you land on the green, hopefully close to the pin, and as such, the cup, where you would then have an easy putt to finish the hole. But what so many golfers don't realize, or they do and they play it wrong, whatever, is that the green is slightly tilted towards that water hazard. And you have very good chances if you shoot it wrong to land. It'll roll back into the water, which is what Kevin Costner's first shot does. So I got to make some room here. He snaps his fingers and says ball to his caddy, played by Cheech Marin. And as a caddy should, he tries to talk him out of it. Just take the stroke. It's a penalty stroke by going in the water. You put it over, outside the green, but a lot closer. It's a much easier shot. You'll be fine, because he still had a way lead over Don Johnson. And he's refusing Cheech Marin's advice. He's going to make this shot. Absolutely going to make this shot. He's determined to do so much that it's cost him so many strokes. He loses the U.S. Open. But in the end, lands the ball on the other side of the pin. It rolls down the green, hits the pole, hits the pin, into the cup, and he sinks the shot. And the crowd goes nuts. But meanwhile, in the TV production trailer, they bring these like mobile homes to events like this, and the inside is set up like an office, and it's a computer room where all the equipment goes to, just like what I'm sitting at right here. Much bigger. And the producer's sitting there with his headphones on, and they got a boom mic, so he can, turn and look at all kinds of different stuff. And he just yells, as he's going through these different strokes, they're counting, okay, now he's shooting, this stroke is going to be his If he lands it on this one, this is going to be a score. And he keeps going, and the guy just yells, "Somebody tackle him!" That's my thought about MAGA Republicans. They're so stupid. And what they're doing is just so blatantly pathetic. I mean, let's go to True Social. Let's see if that's what he said. We got time. For those of you listening, Truth TV, there it is. I'm going to my True Social account. And yes, I do have one, because it's important to see things from both sides of the political spectrum. I'm going to put this on the screen. That's why we have video. Yeah, you can see what my cover photo says. Although I do have Right Talk Radio logo for my profile. Let's search DJT. There he is. Oh, now I got the hiccups again. And I got to piss. Newsmax, the digital Fox. Daryl Nuremberg will be the next ambassador to Romania. Real honor to welcome all of you to the White House. That must be the white South Africans. Kidding. It's a bunch of police officers. I don't know what the hell this golden dome is. Oh, here's we must maintain our status as the worldwide leader in Wi-Fi, 5G, and 6G. This I agree with. One in a row. Connecting every American to the world's best networks, while also keeping everyone safe. We can do both at the same time. Bottom line, I'm going to free up plenty of spectrum for auction, so Congress must put 600 megahertz in the one big beautiful bill. I don't think he's referring to the cable company. At least I hope not, because they suck. Let's make sure all options are on the table. Never bet against American ingenuity. Make America great again. If it was only great the first time. Open borders. No, that's not it. Okay, so less than a day after announcing that he has cancer, he posts, Joe Biden was not for open borders. He never talked about open borders, where criminals of all kinds, shapes, and sizes can flow into our country at will. What the hell was that? I just heard a ding for something. I have no idea what it was. Flow into the country at will. It wasn't his idea to open the border and almost destroy our country and cost us hundreds of billions of dollars to get criminals out of the country and go through the process we're going through now. It was the people that knew he was cognitively impaired and that took over the auto pen. There's no auto pen. And this is not treason at the highest level. If you only read the Constitution, you'd know that you're the one committing treason. I love his projection. God. If Biden's pardons are null and void, which they're not, his lifetime judicial appointments should be too, which they're not. This is why I fact check. Ones that are in good condition do, yeah. I don't see you doing anything for infrastructure except building a wall that's probably going to fall over again. I guess we're supposed to believe that this meme is accurate. Women for Trump. Yeah, you're called sex slaves. God, these people are so stupid. Oh my God. Well, I'm not seeing anything remotely. This women for Trump bitch is. This is what I'm talking about. A lot of people need to go to prison for their role in the stolen election. One, it wasn't stolen. Two, your guy is the one that should be in prison. Ugh. We are paying 535 members of Congress millions to do nothing. We are paying Trump nothing. We're paying nothing for President Trump to do everything. Oh, aren't you cute? $44 billion was not the cost of Twitter. It was the cost of restoring free speech. Yeah. Nobody said he's not being nice. It says he's violating the Constitution. So I've gone back a couple of days. Yeah, this is ridiculous too, because they're not weaponizing law enforcement. U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Alina Habba, who has no trial experience, she proved that, announced her office was formally charged U.S. Rep. LaMonica McIver for assaulting a federal officer outside Newark ICE Center. Meanwhile, the mayor that was arrested was released. Retruth this if you believe no one. Yes, I do believe no one is above the law. And that includes Trump and many people who should be in jail right now. If they shouldn't, why'd they plead? Well, start with Donald. When corrupt politicians start going to jail, we can start trusting the government again. Yep. So I'm not going to spend time scrolling through this asshats. I can't find it. The cancer is a distraction. Okay. From the auto pen crimes. Yeah, okay. I love this. It's a picture of a bunch of different people. The corruption club. Trump is a threat to their swamp. Two of the people are probably the most conservative Republicans in the Congress, in the House. One of the people wouldn't have been on there if it wouldn't have been earlier for this week when he posted free speech 8647. That's James Comey. The other one is a Trump appointee, another Trump appointee. I thought he hires the best and the brightest. Yeah, I'm not going to. This is what our president does. He sits and scrolls through this stupid shit. Patriot for life. Here's my take on the word patriot. I've given this to you before, and you're probably sick of it. You do not put patriot in your profile. There it is. Patriot for life. God, who is that? Loss. 1776. We the people, 1776. Oh, you have no idea what the hell happened in 1776. But you will never see me put patriot in my profile. That is for you and history and society to determine if I'm a patriot or if anybody else is a patriot. Your screen right there is not showing any. Oh, this is such a waste. That's why I really don't post too much to that. I troll. I try to piss people off. People that clearly have it coming to them. I got to take one more break. When I come back, we'll talk about the stations that are soon going to be up. I'll take you through mastiff.media. I think I did that already, but I know we got a bunch of new subscribers and listeners and whatever else. So give you a little bit of what you're getting yourself into. All right. This is the Mastiff Media Network. You're listening or watching to Up the Middle. We'll be right back. Hey gang, my name's Jurgs. I'm the CEO of the Jurger Group and Mastiff Media. We're partnering with Dare Media of Australia and are looking for new content. Do you have a podcast or maybe a live stream? Does it have a positive message? Is it about sports? Is it political? Is it news coverage? Is it for the LGBT community? Or is it even music? Don't forget, we're partnering with Dare Media of Australia. So not only could your program be heard on our stations here in the United States, but also in Australia. So if that's you, send us an email on air at jurgsradio.com. That's on air at jurgsradio.com. The jurgs.radio URL does not have email. On air at jurgsradio.com. And let's get you on air. That's a sucky ending to that commercial. I didn't do the music today. Usually when I come back and do a live spot, got some chill music playing. There it is. Now on Discord. Mastiff Media is now on Discord. You can take a look at that. Scan that QR code. Join us on Discord for the live feed, just like any of the other platforms. But that's direct. They're right here. You, me, and a bunch of other subscribers. No cost to join. Just scan the QR code on your screen, and we'll see you there. Broken Mirror of Memory, Iraq and Other Tales by Joseph Stoll. Scan that QR code. That currently will take you to his Amazon account. It's a little loud. There you go. That will currently take you to his Amazon account. However, the new Mastiff Media website, much better shape than any that went before it. Oh, you know what? We stream to the site too, so this might slow things down. The new Mastiff Media website will be offering merch to include Joseph's book right there on your screen. Scan that QR code, take a look at that. I'm excited to read it. And in fact, we will be selling autographed copies. You want to go train with me sometime? Check this out, Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates, right on US 19. Fort Ritchie. Also the Daily Crypto News. Weekdays at dailycryptonews.net. And don't forget, I'm on Cameo. from your $5 or so. I forget what it is. I think it's about $5. You can have me read you like I'm hanging up on you on a phone call. I can answer questions about the Secret Service. I can wish you happy birthday. Good luck on a test. Good luck at a job interview. Whatever you want me to say. Let me be your inspiration. Let this sexy voice and this messy hair inspire you to do better than me. I think I got a puppy that's needing to go outside. So when we come back, I'm going to take a quick doggy break. When we come back, I'm going to show you the new updates on Mastiff Media. Be right back. All right, gang. Not gonna lie, I had to do my own bathroom trip too. But I don't know where she went. Probably into the bedroom to tear apart another pillow. So this is the Mastiff.media website. This is the homepage. You can get all of our stations on one website. But there's more to it than that. When we're live, obviously, we are also on video. And you just scroll down. We're right there on the homepage. Being sent right to the homepage of Mastiff Media. So you can get the show right there. A little bit about me. Why you would want to listen to me or anything like that. About me, a little bit of background, and a way you can contact me through one of our emails and a toll-free phone number to the office that's here at Mastiff Media. Like I said, our stations, yergs.radio. That's the URL, by the way, yergs.radio. And you can click the logos are all a button where you can click. It'll take you to, I think this one takes you to the player where you can listen to what's on Yerg's radio. Right now it would be us. I think Rainbow takes you to the website. Sports Talk is coming soon. We'll do a Sports Talk station. RainbowRadio.gay is for the LGBT community. And again, by clicking on that, this one I think takes you to its own website. Yerg's Radio and Rainbow Radio are served by a company called BR Logic. We're switching that to another company that has servers overseas because they don't want Trump to be able to access them and shut them down. So, but BR Logic offers a very plug and play basic type of website with every station that you have with them. So Yerg's Radio and Rainbow Radio each have their own website. This one redirects you to that site, but on the homepage of those sites are players for those stations. So you can still easily get both stations. Also, Right Talk Radio. RightTalk.radio is for conservatives. We like to say for conservatives and anyone else in their right mind. Forward Radio. Tomorrow's answers today. Forward Radio for progressives. Our affiliate stations. This is the newest, actually 2 editions. The other one was kind of in there. I just finished this one last night. And God, they just kill me. Mastiff Media, affiliate stations. With more than 100,000 internet stations globally, Mastiff.media can't build an audience simply by posting on social media. We have partnered with some of the best content creators in the business. Furthermore, we've partnered with their homes or found them additional ones and bring them to you so that you can grow your base and sources for great content. After all, you are why we are all here. Here's the list of the Mastiff.media big dogs. Radio X Country, Radio Live. These are all by Dare Media. That's in the production, or the owner is in the top, and then the brand is the larger, followed by their emails and telephone numbers. Those are Australian telephone numbers. And we put that in because we figure there could be Australians accessing this site. So let the phone number there. And then each logo is a button to their website is set up similar to ours. It's daremedia.com. And then they each have a tab on their on the website. Sportcat's Daily Gazette is up next, by the way. I think I heard him click in the background. That's for Nightlight Studios and all the shows that he puts together for us. WZQR-FM is in Pineland, Florida. DNR Studios, we've talked about quite a bit. That's Derek and Romaine. That's the one subscription service that we are now part of. KSHP in Las Vegas has us 2 days a week. The Biz Growth Collective, we do off and on. And this one didn't work out right, the logo. So we're going to make a square-shaped logo ourselves to put that. But that should say UG.XL is one of the 2 stations that United Global Media has. Who the hell is dinging me? I think that's, yeah. I'm going to put you on the spot. If you don't hurry, I got to go. Oh, well, let's get him out of here. Get rid of that and bring him out.
Hey, man.
What's happening?
But
what's up?
We've got emergency here, so I'm dialing 911, or my mom is dialing 911. So, by any chance, can you cover, or can we go to repeat or something?
Yeah. I mean, take care of what you got to take care of.
Just my aunt is unconscious, unresponsive, so I got to go.
Oh wow!
But
go. Keep going.
They're calling 911 right now, so I figured I had a few minutes I'd come to you. All right, brother. Thank you. Tell everybody I said love them. See you. Bye.
Yep. Likewise. Oh wow. As many of you know, Glenn Sportcat Jackson has moved. It's actually a permanent move now from Atlanta to the Memphis area to care for his aunt, as you just heard, as well as his mom. And we just heard that the aunt is unresponsive. And so hopefully that ends much better than it currently sounds. I every day, and that's one of the things that sucks about this. I've got things to do now every day for the stations. I really can't cover, although I would if I don't have anything to put in the background. By the way, we're hiring, and that's for all those stations that you just saw. Sports, talk of whatever you want to talk about. Then also specifically for the LGBT community. That one, we're also going to look into and try music, because a lot of the DJs that spin their various music spin their own music. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not going to do anything inappropriate with regards to royalties, but usually when a DJ does their mix, they've already bought the licensing to remix Cyndi Lauper or something like that, whatever. So we'll play that and get them exposure. I mean, why not? And I got to see what David Beckmeyer's message is too. Oh, he doesn't. I wanted to try to call him on Facebook. I got to get that rescheduled. He's coaching me on how to raise money, so it's not like it's something that's kind of important. Yeah. So what I want to do is see what is in the back end of Jurg's radio is what these all run off of. Okay, so schedule for today. Oh, seriously? Yeah, that ain't good. One of the Mastiff Magazine shows, or yeah, I'll put something else in there. I just got to make sure there's somebody in that playlist that I just suggested or selected. Playlist, Coyote. You're going to hear the Coyote Small Business Podcast, which is actually really well done. Thomas Wu talks to some really good people. Yeah, these are all filled for an hour. That's awesome. Okay. And then I'll see if I can maybe put... that's one of the others. Support Cat and the Misfits we're taking down because it's a weekend show that we don't do anymore. Yeah, I'm actually going to put Coyote, give that a little promo. All right. The Coyote Small Business Podcast is up next. We will see the Mates Helping Mates in 3 hours from now. That's from Australia. I'll be back tomorrow. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. Thanks for getting off the porch and running with the big dogs and going straight up the middle. We'll see you tomorrow.